Hello, hello! Today's video we are going to be talking about 3 important things to keep in mind when making plans for your business. These are things that I find a lot of people just don't take into consideration when they're setting their business goals, but it can be really helpful in setting goals that are more realistic, and so you're not getting frustrated or burned out trying to reach goals that aren't really fitting where you're at in your business and life right now. So before we dive in, I want to introduce myself. I am Mariah. My business is Bloom Hustle Grow, and I help service-based entrepreneurs get their business operations organized and optimized to make the hustle happier. So the very first thing that you want to take into consideration when setting business goals for your business is any outside commitments or goals that you have that may impact the time that you're able to spend on your business or the energy that you put towards your business, as well as what season are you in your life right now. So what I mean by this is when you're setting your business goals, you really want to make sure it aligns with what is going on outside of your business. As an entrepreneur, what happens in your life also impacts your business, especially because we do have the freedom to make our own hours and to have our business flex around our life. So it's really important to take into consideration those other responsibilities and those other goals that you have going on that are not business related when you're setting your business goals. Because otherwise, a lot of times you can get kind of frustrated and burned out because your goals are competing against each other. It also may not be goals, it may be kind of the season that you're in your life right now. My example for this is in 2019, my husband and I decided to live in an RV and we traveled full time for a year. And in my business, I was like, oh, I'm going to focus on visibility this year. I don't even know what I was thinking. And that did not align with the current season in my life because we're traveling. I wasn't always sure about Wi-Fi. We did have really good Wi-Fi, but I wasn't always sure about that. So it was really hard for me to make commitments to summits or to record videos and get into a good routine with that. And it just was not a goal that currently aligned with where I was at in my life at that time. So that's just a small example, but it is really important to make sure that you're kind of aligning your business goals with what is going on outside your life. Because maybe this year is a year to just maintain your business. Serve the clients that you have the best you can. Try to get new clients, but you're not really in a growth strategy this year. Your goal may just to be kind of maintain or set up better systems or make what you're doing easier in your business, not necessarily like new things and new goals. The next important thing to take into consideration and to really think about and make a plan around is how are you going to make the time to make this happen. You can't just keep adding things to your plate without taking things off your plate. That is a recipe for burnout. If you keep just adding on, eventually you're going to get where things start to just slide off and it's unintentional with what you're giving up. So you really want to think about if you have big goals that are going to require more of your time or for you to make big adjustments in your business, how are you going to get the time to be able to do that outside of what you're already committed to and how you're running your business? So you really want to think about time, how you're going to make the time to make any projects happen or anything that is related to this larger goal. I always ask people, how are you going to make time to make this happen when we're making a plan? For some people, it's like, okay, I'm going to work Sunday afternoons on this particular project. You may consider, okay, I'm not going to be able to take on any more one-on-one clients because my goal is to move into more passive income, but I need the time to work on those passive income products. So it's really important to ask yourself, how am I going to make time to make these goals and plans happen in my business? And finally, you want to take into consideration what changes need to happen within your business operations and your business strategy to make this goal happen. Are you going to need to hire people? What kind of new tools or tech might you need? What adjustments do you need to make to your messaging or your overall branding? All of those things are good things to take into consideration when you're making business goals and when you're planning for your business. You want to look at what needs to change that I'm currently doing in my business to make this happen. What strategies might I need to pick up? what business operations changes do I need to make, and how can I streamline all of this so that I can reach this goal. So this was pretty simple, but again, these are questions that I always ask my clients when I work with them when we're coming up with a strategic plan. Is there anything outside of your business that may make this hard to accomplish? How are you going to make time to make this happen? How are you going to adjust your schedule? And I need examples of how you're going to adjust your schedule. And then what changes need to happen within your business operations and your business strategies for us to reach this goal. So those are the 3 important questions I always ask when I'm helping a client develop a strategic plan. Hopefully these 3 things will also help you make a plan you're able to stick to, and that's a little more realistic for where you're at in your time, in your life, in your business, and all that good stuff. Join me here each Monday for a new video where I will give you tips, tricks, and help on making your business run smoother.